Hey everyone, it's Kieran Sapien from Filmstorm Studios, and today we're going to have a look at creating our very own tree inside of Unity 3D. And we're not going to be using speed tree or anything, we're just going to use the inbuilt game object system. And you can come in here and you can see this is where we're going to be doing it all through, this little tree. And all I've done is I've actually taken a photo of a nice piece of bark, and I found this nice leaf on Google. And you just want to make sure that it's a PNG or a Photoshop file with an alpha channel, so you can really see that all this black, and in Photoshop you'll actually see it's a checkerboard in behind it, and that way you know it has a nice alpha, and that's what's going to give us these really nice see-through leaves. And you can pretty much create any kind of leaf you want and pop it on here, different bark. You can create purple trees, yellow trees, black trees, orange trees, whatever color tree you want, and the same with leaves. So let's have a look at how we're going to get this started and create our nice little wind zones and everything. So let's just jump out of this play view. I'm just going to delete this tree. First off, what you want to do is create a material. So let me just show you how I made these materials. And let's just call this leaf 1. And you'll want to come up to standard, change it to nature. And if you're creating bark, you want to put bark, or if you're creating leaves, you'll just create leaves. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. Or you could create a tree soft occlusion leaf. I mean, there's so many different options you can use. We can try this one. See what this one's going to give us. Some of them give us nice results. Some of them get a bit funky. But for now, let's come up to game object. Actually, first let's just delete this old wind zone, so that way we've got everything. The only thing that's new from a new scene is this this plane. So just keep the plane in there. And let's go game object, 3D, tree, and voila, we'll have this massive gigantor stub in the middle of our scene. So if we scale this guy down, so it's a nice little manageable tree. That looks quite nice. Let me just bring this light up. So first thing, if you click on the tree, you'll notice we have this big yellow circle. That's under the area spread, so if you pump that up, you can bring it down. I like to have it around this size, just depending on how big your tree is. Basically, this is just how long your branches will start out being. We've got lots of different options, but this is pretty much it for this tree. You'll see that we have this nice little branch kind of view going on, the hierarchy of the tree. And once you click on, so if you have this is the base, if you click on this top one, you'll see we've got these little squares. And two things will happen with this. One, if you start to edit one of these, you won't be able to use the automated tools to edit it, as well as the length and stuff. So you'll want to keep it on this and then do as much editing in here using the group seeds, frequencies, angles as you can before you start editing the little branches and stuff to like fine details. Otherwise you'll kind of be stuffed, and if you want to change it back, like if you start to edit and you've like been editing for hours and then you need to put another branch in, you won't be able to. So you need to make sure you're happy with the number of branches, and yeah, make sure you're happy with it before you start going crazy doing all the little stuff. So we've got lots of little options. We've got crinkliness, we've got seek sun. So depending on where your light is, we can even so if we bring the light down like over this way, so you'll notice if we do this and we bring seek sun, it's gonna try and bend towards that, but it's because the crinkliness is on right now. So now we've got radius, so we can really make it a big mushy thing, or a little twig, old branch kind of sticking out of the ground. So let's just kind of keep it in the middle. This is the length, so you can have a really long tree. And if you're going to have this, you probably want to have a bigger base. You can adjust the noise that's happening. You can really adjust these values. You can make it flare, which is just going to make it split at the bottom. I never really use these values at the bottom. You can make it break, have a high break chance, which is a bit weird. It just kind of breaks it in half. And you can adjust the location where you want it to break. Kind of cool when you're doing the higher branch works. but let me just bring that down to 0. So that's pretty much it. And also, this is where we set our branch, our bark material. So you can come in, grab your bark material, which is this under the tree nature tree creator bark, and all I've done is just dragged in my texture. So let's just pop this guy in here. It's going to have a little think, and you can see we have this nice bark going up the tree now. So that's pretty cool. And what we want to do now is probably add some branches to it. So let's click on this little plus, and now you can see we've got some little branches happening. So let's pump up the frequency. And here we got a nice tree starting to form. That's pretty cool. Let's maybe change the length of some of these. We can bring down the radius a little. Sometimes you just have to click in the scene for it to update. So that looks pretty nice, and in nature you don't really have straight lines that much, so the more you can edit it, the better it looks. So let's bring Seek Sun, so it's going to kind of go upwards. Let's do that. Okay, that looks nice. And you can do the seed just to give you different variations if you're not happy. Actually, and that looks pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. I might bring that Seek Sun just down a little. Alrighty, so that looks wonderful. To start with this one, I might just bring that bark material in again for the branch. And there we go, we've got a really nice tree happening, starting to form. Okay, so now next, let's put some leaves on these branches. Let's click the plus button for the leaf. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, what we can do is pump up the frequency. So you can see these cards are where our leaves are going to be. So let's bring in our leaf material. I haven't actually tried that one. This material does not use a tree shader. Okay, let's say apply. Sorry, because I chose that different one. And here we go, we've got some leaves going on. So let's bring down the size of these. Maybe let's pump up the frequency. And I actually like the billboard. Well, it's pretty massive. Let's bring the size down. Just because billboard, the leaves are always facing you pretty much no matter where you go, and it's a lot less intensive on memory because planes are actual little objects that render, and billboards are kind of like textures, so it doesn't use as many bits of your memory. Alright, so let's pump this up a bit more. Okay, so you can have a really sparse, like dense tree, or you can have a little sparse tree with not so many leaves going on it. And I think that actually looks pretty nice. We can adjust the seed a little bit. Alright, and I think that looks pretty cool. And you can actually adjust different distributions. You can have alternate, opposite, and hurled. And you can actually twist it out depending on what you want to do. It's always a bit weird, this one. I never really get what it's doing, but I guess it places it at different areas of your branches. So you can turn down that step and see it kind of puts it in there. Alright, so I think that looks like a really nice tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to say create wind zone now. So you'll notice if I press play, nothing's actually going to be moving. Let me just so nothing's actually moving in there. So to create that movement of a nice natural tree, we'll want to come into here, click on one of the branches, and say create wind zone. And you'll see this big fan kind of appear at the bottom. So if we click play now, let's jump to here, you'll see that the tree is kind of wiggling, and the default settings are never the best ones. You'll probably want to change it to spherical. Or, I mean, directional, just kind of depends. You'll see this big arrow, you can kind of make it go in whatever direction you're wanting your game to go in. So say you want it to kind of be going down that way, that's fine. And we can really pump up the turbulence to push it in that direction. But you never want it that much unless you're like trying to make a game like The Witcher or something. The Witcher 3. Let's bring up the main. Let's maybe I like to bring the pulse frequency down to like a really low level. and then the pulse magnitude down to a bit of a low one too. So it kind of gives it a really slow life cycle of bending and moving. And let's do that. Alright, so that's actually a really nice tree. And you can see if we just where we want it to be pushing. And you can adjust this main. The main kind of has a thing over all of these settings. So you can see if you really push that up, it's kind of going to affect it all at the same time. So let's bring it to around there. Alrighty, so that looks really nice. So I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. We've created a really nice simple tree, and then you just repeat the process. Go game object, 3D object, tree, create a new tree. Don't try and duplicate it and then start working on a new one, otherwise all of the settings will be transferred over to your new tree. You have to go and say create 3D object new tree, because what happens is it actually creates these folders, and that's how it all works. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video interesting. I'll be posting more videos soon, and I'll catch you guys then. Thank you so much. See ya.